Well, Indy, thank you so much for the kind words, and the entire Signifyd team and everybody on the call. Thank you for joining and letting me to speak at this prestigious event. So as Indy said, my name is Carlos Savino. I actually manage the Americas business at Lenovo.com, which includes Canada, the US, and 6 Latin American countries, including Brazil, Mexico, Chile, Argentina, Colombia, and others. So what I'd like to do is talk to you a little bit today, and it's a very complicated topic, and I'll try to do my best to speed through the content and leave a little time for questions. But I wanted to talk about our approach to consumer consumer experience, customer experience, and what we're doing. Some examples of the things that we're doing internally to be able to go improve it across many of the dimensions that we have and routes to market. But I thought I would start by just kind of maybe level setting. Lenovo is the #1 PC manufacturer in the world, based out of China with headquarters also in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I am today. And Lenovo.com is in 36 countries. Most people have no idea what Lenovo is, and that's okay. So I figured I would explain to you or give you a perspective on the brands that are under our umbrella. You may have heard of ThinkPad. That was a business that we purchased from IBM several decades ago. It's by far our most famous brand here in North America. But there are others, our Legion line of gaming products, Yoga, which is our 2-in-1 product, and IdeaPad, which are really directed to our consumer customers. We also purchased Motorola about, I'd say 4 or 5 years ago. So Motorola is also under the Lenovo index. So you can see that very strong brands under this Lenovo umbrella, and we manage all of them. What's interesting about the PC business, and it may be different from other businesses, is given the high average order value and given that the complexity around the technology purchases and the longevity of these technology purchases, we see the repurchase cycle to be very, very long within our industry. It's not atypical for us to see customers enter our purchase funnel and then remain dormant, purchase something, and then become dormant for 3 years or more. So maintaining, retaining those customers, providing them with exceptional customer service and a great experience at the point where they purchase is imperative so that they remember that and all throughout the purchase owning cycle, enjoy using their products. So ultimately when they have to go refresh, they come back to us. COVID has been an absolutely, I would say, staggering change in just overall demand to Lenovo.com, which is very similar to what we've seen across a number of categories and verticals. Since COVID started, we've seen about 43% more new customers coming to our site, and that's over the last 12 months. Typically, when you see those types of new customers, what you also see is new expectations, and we'll talk a little bit about how those new expectations are different than the customers we've had before, and the things that we're doing, learning from them, and doing ultimately to improve our go-to-market and our sort of holistic experience with them. But the other thing I'm really proud of is not only have we got new customers, but the things that we've done, I think, have been very material in retaining those customers, because it's very easy in an e-commerce business, particularly for a commodity, for people to come in and shop around and not stay with one single route to market like a .com business. And Lenovo is very similar to other original equipment manufacturers like Dell and HP, where our products, quite frankly, can be purchased across a number of different routes. So getting people to buy directly and staying in our direct funnel, in our direct programs, is extraordinarily important to us. So this 72% retention is a huge milestone, and we're very proud of it. In order for us to be able to go adequately sort of get a sense of for what our customers are saying and how they're feeling about not only their purchase experience, but their owning experience, we actually go measure 3 E's across a variety of touch points, which starts with the consideration, the evaluate section, all the way through to purchase, to did I get my machine, how easy is it to use, if I ever have a support inquiry, how quickly do you resolve that, and then once we get into the renew cycle, how willing are you to come back to Lenovo and purchase a product. This has been completely redone from the ground up. It is owned and it is really ingrained into our DNA at the corporate level. And the really great thing about, not only are we measuring it and not only are we putting together a catalog of actions based on this customer feedback, we have taken, I think, a fantastic step forward where customer experience is actually part of our incentive program at Lenovo. So we have specific KPIs that we have to go deliver to every single year, not only as an e-commerce business, but as a business as a whole. And that is that does impact end of year bonuses and overall performance reviews. So not only do we have the information, but we action the information and we make it part of the incentive of why people should pay attention to it. How do we get this information and what do we do with it? So we get 7 million pieces of customer feedback a year across a variety of dimensions, and that's online forums, that's customer surveys, that's tech support, chat transcripts, natural language processing that actually allows us to be able to go pick apart specific consistent trends that we're seeing in this feedback, and then surveys. So we ask our customers, we either ask our customers or sort of reactively get information from our customers on how they're feeling about things. We learn from them, learn from not only their buying and their owning experience, but their support experience and how we can do better. And my apologies, I've got somebody on the other side mowing the lawn at this exact time. We also look more qualitatively at their overall purchase journey on Lenovo.com. So we actually do customer journey mapping on our website, understand where we see fallout, understand where we see people having issues configuring or customizing or comparing, and we build testing plans to be able to go improve that. And all throughout the way, we're looking towards improving our customer experience across both the purchase experience, which is when you come and buy, are you happy with the site experience, but also in customer satisfaction and customer dissatisfaction surveys and KPIs that we have in our business. All of this actually gets fed into a CX Insights Hub, which is available and viewable and actionable by every single person in the Lenovo organization, including my e-commerce team. This is where we can go in and look for our specific route. We can see, are people satisfied with their shopping experience? Are people satisfied with their pre-delivery experience? Are they happy with their delivery experience? Are they happy with their product experience? And then we can start to go hone in on specific places where we see customers having problems. Root cause is very easy to find. It delivers actionable analytics, and it prioritizes the places where we need to go focus the most when we can start to see these single things, the methodology of these single things are driving the biggest dissatisfaction in your region or your business. Then we can start to go hone in on specific things that we do. So this is an incredibly powerful tool that's available to us, and we use it, frankly, every day to go deliver to a premier experience, or our best attempt at that. What's interesting, and I talked about this fact that we've seen 43% more customers coming in. We, like many other businesses pre-COVID, had a very established customer base. And for the most part, we knew who they were, we knew the demographics, we knew the attributes, we knew what was important to the type of customer that was coming in organically and buying from us. The new customers that came in, I'm calling them sort of redirected retail and e-commerce savvy, are people who have had experiences either on other e-commerce platforms and are coming to Lenovo to research and buy, or they're people who are really familiar with retail in general and have their own experiences with being able to go get things quickly, getting really great sales consultative support, getting information from blue shirts at Best Buy to help them find their technology needs or find solutions for their technology needs. So we really had to go dig into, we built a site predicated on sort of one type of customer. In the past year, we've had an entirely different type of customer coming in and what's important to them. And so we sort of identified 5 key areas where we felt like we were not necessarily meeting customer needs all the time. And I'm not going to go through all 5, but I'm going to talk about 3 specifically because I could probably spend 4 hours talking about everything we do. And we as an aside, We went through a customer experience review earlier this week, and there were probably, I would say, 200 different things that are being worked on at any given time. So it is a dramatic amount of work and effort that goes into it. So I'm only going to focus on 3 things. The first thing is on the product side, and I think, there we go, on the product side. So what's interesting is our customers are very passionate about our products, and for that we are extraordinarily grateful. And one of the things that I believe sets the ThinkPad apart is not only the build quality and the fact that it's for small businesses, it's a fantastic solution. But one of the things I think people have said they love more than anything else is the keyboard on the ThinkPad. But what's interesting is when we started to go look at it generationally, we started to realize that there were customers who were really satisfied with it, but we also had a number of customers who were saying, I'm pretty dissatisfied with your keyboard. And we started to go mine that data and understand what their specific issues were, and actually developed and made it part of our engineering process to go make those improvements. So you can see generationally, since that 5th gen, where our 5th gen product, which is about 4 years old, we made about 100% improvement in our satisfaction in our sort of sentiment scores in keyboards. And you can see one of our 8th gen customers said, this keyboard is spectacular, one of the best I ever used, and a highlight of ThinkPad products. And that's the kind of product quality conversation and testimonial that I think is incredibly important to us. So using that data, we were able to go understand that even though we felt like we had a competitive advantage on one specific part of our product, clearly there were needs that were not being met, and we made them better, and you can see the results, which is fantastic to see. The second thing I want to talk about, and it's very near and dear to my heart because I appreciate being able to go speak at the Flow Summit, but I also want to tip my hat to Signifyd in general. We partnered with Signifyd about, I'm going to say, a year and a half ago, and because what we started to recognize is a couple things. When we look at the lower portion of our purchase funnel, and anybody that's in e-commerce can appreciate this, every step of the funnel, your productivity, your conversion rates, your revenue per visit, your margin per visit, all increase all the way down to the bottom of the funnel, to the point where right before, sort of after you put in payments and you go to your verify and submit, it is extraordinarily profitable to keep people on that purchase journey. Because Lenovo has a very high average order value, we take a very conservative approach to fraud. And in some cases, what we were seeing was our fraud controls were so oppressive that many of our customers, actually legitimate customers, were being denied for one reason or another. Anecdotally, I can tell you that I've been running Lenovo.com for 3.5 years. I purchased a product on Lenovo.com on my PC with an American Express card, and I got flagged for fraud. So you can see, just anecdotally, that we have very tight controls in place. So when we partnered with Signifyd and said, how can you help us here? How can you help us make sure that not only are we capturing as much demand as possible, but how can you make sure that we're not treating a legitimate customer as a fraudulent customer, which we know that when you get down to the bottom of the funnel and you've gone through the complexity of deciding which product you want, configuring everything you want, getting all the way down and getting ready to hit that button and us sort of say you're not worthy of purchasing, that can be an extraordinary disad driver. So I will say that it has been absolutely fantastic, quite honestly, to see the take rates and improvements that we've seen, not only in saved sales, quite frankly, but also in lower funnel satisfaction through the fewer number of people who are getting mistakenly categorized as fraudulent purchasers on Lenovo.com. So I think that's a huge win. There's another example, which is loyalty. And one of the biggest fears I have, and one of the biggest drivers that we have here at Lenovo over the next, I will call it 12 months, is actually maintaining a high degree of engagement with these brand new customers that are coming in. Because in many cases, they were forced into coming to us because they couldn't shop in retail, or they couldn't find the product that they wanted through their route of choice, whether it was another website or a retail business. So we saw a lot of them come in And honestly, it's very important for us to retain those customers. So acquisition is great. Acquisition is expensive. Retention is even more important. And honestly, what we see from customers in our retention and development sections of our file are much more likely to have high CSAT and NPS scores. So about 12, 13 months ago, we actually built a loyalty program at Lenovo, which incentivizes customers not only at point of sale by giving them dollars to come spend back with us later on not only PC products, but on products across a variety of really world-class consumer electronics brands like Microsoft Xboxes, PlayStations, gaming titles, Logitech stuff. But what we saw was not only do they come back and buy, which is fantastic for us, but loyalty customers, because we're able to engage with them and because we can have relevant conversations with them, actually have a significantly higher NPS than people who are not loyalty customers, even with the same general demographic attributes. So we know that when we can have a really relevant and timely conversation, an ongoing conversation with customers, and we can talk to them about how to best solution or service their product or get the most out of their product and give them reasons to continue to engage with us, they actually have a much higher satisfaction score. And we are extraordinarily proud of this Lenovo, my Lenovo Awards program, and are looking forward to actually evolving it over time. Just had a conversation about that as well earlier today. The last thing that I'll talk about as a real world example is post-purchase experience. And this one is an absolute bear. I'm going to be honest with you. This is extraordinarily complicated, and nothing makes me more upset, or frankly, makes our customers more upset to spend $1,000, $1,500 with us, and then have a bad post-purchase experience. So what we found was we were getting two pieces of very directed feedback. One was on our price match guarantee. Our price match guarantee says we will stand by the price of your product. Within 30 days of when you buy it, if you can show us an analog product on another website, or even our own product on a different website, we'll price match it one time within 30 days. That's the kind of buy with confidence that's important for us to be able to go sort of win over customers, win their hearts and minds, and retain them and drive conversion. But we were failing. Quite honestly, we were failing in the sense that when people were submitting for these price matches, it was taking 7 days or more for us to be able to go resolve those. We said, unacceptable. This is a very important part of our business. And we dedicated people, headcount, and technology to be able to go improve it. So since November, when we started to really get a sense that this was becoming an emerging issue, we dedicated a brand new work stream and a Tiger team to go bring that down to a 1-day SLA. And it took us about 30 days to get there. So right now, our price match guarantee is actually within 1 day, we can turn that around. And in many cases, it's the same day. So now this buy with confidence means a lot more because we can allow people the confidence to know that we will stand by not only our value statement, but the product and take care of them quickly. The second one was refund timing. And this one is probably a lot worse because if someone gives you $1,500 and you give them a laptop and something's wrong with the laptop, or they just don't want it, or it doesn't meet their needs, or whatever it is, that's fine. You can send it back to us, no questions asked, within 30 days, and we'll give you a refund. The problem is that the refunds, quite candidly, were taking 20 plus days after we got the product to be able to go credit a customer's original form of payment. So you can imagine, I pay you $1,500, I send you back the thing that you told me is worth $1,500, and then you sit on my money for more than 3 weeks. That is absolutely unacceptable. And we agree with our customers. And this was becoming a huge topic. We were starting to get a lot of verbatims about it. We were hearing about it in NPS surveys. So we really put together a team to go develop a rapid response, bold initiative to improve that. So we are nowhere where we need to be. But in the last 60 days, we've gotten that down from that 20-day, and by the way, that's 20 business days. You can imagine business days is a lot longer than calendar days. We've taken that from 20 business days down to 8 with a plan to get us less than 5 within the next 90 days. That I can tell you that in an organization as big as ours, to be able to go do that with the complexity of the refund process and all the steps along the way requires an enormous amount of not only human capital, but capital and consideration and agreement from our executive team. So this is part of a journey. It's a snapshot in time of our journey, but another example of us trying to do better for our customers every single day. And we're nowhere where we need to be, but we're working on it. The last thing I'll leave you with is I truly believe this. Everybody on my team believes this. It is part of, as I said, it's part of our DNA is customers, loyal customers are our most valuable asset, because not only do they come back, but they also tell other people how important it is or how great it is to be able to go purchase from a specific vendor. So we're going to do a couple things. We've also heard that we need to start, we know that we need to start retaining customers, because the reality is retention equals long-term scalability within our business. It's very expensive to go acquire new customers. It's way cheaper to win over your existing customers and keep them happy, so that you can drive revenue and growth over time. The second thing that we're trying to do is actually, we looked at, what's interesting is we look at a lot of external market competitors. And one of the market competitors that we look at, interestingly enough, is not even based in North America. It's a company out of China, and it's called Xiaomi. Xiaomi does a fantastic job with getting people sort of grassroots organically to drive ambassadors and drive awareness and growth in their business. And we look at them and say, how can we do that? So we're building plans to be able to go create those brand ambassadors similar, so that we can have our own customers advocating on our behalf. And then two different differentiations. One is make customers feel special. The second thing is differentiate yourself from the competition. We want our customers to feel like they are our most valuable asset. So we want to treat them well, but also we want to differentiate ourselves from the competition, not differentiate ourselves relative to the competition, but differentiate ourselves for our customers. How are we better than our customers? And how can we better service them than some of our competition? So I know I went through a lot there. That is more or less what I wanted to walk through. As I said, I could probably spend another 3 hours talking about this, because we're very passionate about it. But I don't know if there were any questions that I could answer, or any items that you guys had any thoughts on. I'm looking at the Q&A. I don't see anything. So the question is, you mentioned that you regularly survey customers. Do you provide them an opportunity for an informal, detailed feedback through your site? Absolutely, we do. And it's very interesting. It's a little bit of a delicate balance, because on the one hand, we want to go get as much information from our customers as possible. On the other hand, my merchandising team is extraordinarily sensitive to the number of different requests for information that we have through pop-ups and site activities. But yes, we do. We do have surveys asking them, why are you here? We also have surveys that say, after you're done with whatever your reason to come here, would you be willing to fill out a survey and give us some feedback? And we also leverage quite a lot our internal chat organization. As I said, there's a lot there. We do get part of our business is servicing customers through our inbound call center team, as well as our inbound chat team, and we mine information from them using natural language processing and machine learning to sort of get an assessment of keywords and hot topics and those kinds of things. So hopefully that answers your question. We absolutely do, and it drives my merchandising team crazy sometimes.
That's a great question. Thank you, Austin, for asking that one. Carlo, I'll throw in one. One of my key takeaways from your session was this idea of constant customer journey mapping as an always-on function on your site, with this actionable insights hub that your whole team has access to. So obviously that getting to that end state takes a while, but maybe the minimum viable product, how'd you get started, and how did you think about empowering your team?
I think I think the first part of any question about how to do X with your team is hire the right people. And quite candidly, part of our interview process and our onboarding process is really around empathy. And not only can you fit in culturally with the team, do you have what it takes to be an e-commerce person at Lenovo, but also are you passionate about customers in a really meaningful way? So that it starts with just making sure that it's part of sort of their foundational psychology, so to speak. But listen, what we did was a very heavy lift for smaller businesses, no doubt about it. At the end of the day, the best thing that you can do and the way to start is asking your customers for feedback, whether it's as part of the journey, whether it's in emails that go out that say, give us your feedback. I mean, it's many customers are willing to go give you information. The hard part is getting positive information, because most people that leave those kinds of verbatims and are reactive to those kinds of surveys do so because they've had an issue. But you can learn as much as anything else by getting negative comments as well. So,
yeah, kudos to you for having the intellectual honesty with you and your team to really listen to those negative comments and mine them for insights. So thank you, Carlo, for all of the knowledge you shared today. That was an amazing session. For everyone in the audience, let's do a round of applause for Carlo, and we will take a 2-minute break and be back for our next session at 11-ish Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern. Thank you for staying with us.